Hey you guys, this is Andrew. I'm sure a lot of you are like, oh my god, his voice is really deep or something. I know it is, but it's not necessarily because of testosterone. It's actually because I've been really sick. I've had a cold for the past couple days, too many days, I don't know. So that's why I sound kind of sniffly and my voice cracks a lot and stuff. I mean, I definitely think it is a little bit, see, it cracks. I definitely think it is a little bit deeper because of the testosterone, but I think a lot of it is because of my cold. Yeah. Look out. Okay. So since today is Mother's Day, I thought it would be really appropriate to finally discuss why I went on testosterone early and decided to not get my eggs harvested and taken out and things like that. Before I say anything, I do want to make it very clear that this is just what I heard from my doctor. I know there are a lot of other opinions and ways. This is just the one that my endocrinologist and a lady doctor, OBGYN type of egg person told her. So that's where I got this information from. Now, I got on testosterone early. Not necessarily early, but when I did, because I decided to not harvest my eggs. Now, why did I decide that? The reasons why I didn't is because, to be blunt, it was too much money. It cost a lot of money to get them removed. I guess I'll go backwards. Why it's important to harvest your eggs before you go on testosterone is because you have a pituitary, right here, and it tells your fallopian tubes and your little thing, your egg makers to make eggs. So you basically, everybody thinks oh, you're just born with all of your eggs, which is true, but your eggs are not ready to be fertilized. They aren't ready to go eggs that you're born with that you just keep. You have little cells that over time turn into eggs. So your cells are there, and then once they form, they go on the outside of your tube, and then once it's time for a woman to start their period, the egg rolls off and it goes down, and then it possibly gets fertilized or it sheds and you have your period. But within that time, there's 6, maybe 10, I don't know, eggs that are ready to be fertilized. And there are some that are almost ready, and then there are some that are just cells, and then there are some that might even just be old. Whenever you go on testosterone, the reason why you stop having your period is because your pituitary isn't run by estrogen anymore. It's run by testosterone. So it shuts down your whole system, and you don't produce eggs anymore. So you have the eggs that are still attached, but those get old. So when you get on testosterone, it's not functioning and the things aren't flowing to have good quality eggs that will function. So once you get them before you're on testosterone, you can freeze them. However, depending on what age you are, keeping your eggs frozen costs around $600 per year, which you might think maybe if you want to keep them for a year or two, that's not that much. But if you keep them for 10 years, that's $6,000, which is a lot for just keeping them. Not only do you have to go through the surgery to get it, or not maybe necessarily surgery, but the process to get them out costs a lot of money. Among that, you also have to get a surrogate. Now, I guess this might be easier if I just explain my situation. The way I looked at it was, I can get my eggs now, and then maybe possibly something will work out. The possibility is not you get your eggs and then you will have a biological child. You can get your eggs, and they don't just do one, they do 4 of them or 6 of them or however many, and then they shoot them all up. So you could possibly have 6 kids or 4 kids because they all stick, or you could get no kids and none of them stick, and then you just spend all that money and now you have no more eggs. You don't have any more eggs. Or you could decide, you don't even want biological children anymore, and then it's well, just have frozen eggs. You never know what the future is. Or, you could have a biological child and they aren't at all what you were expecting. For instance, they might, you might not get along with them. There's so many different possibilities. Not that that necessarily matters, but I'm saying is it's not a guarantee that once you do this, everything is going to be perfect. So among the chances of that, also, you have to pay for them to do that. You have to pay for them to freeze your eggs and harvest them. And you also have to pay for a surrogate. And surrogates cost a lot of money. For those of you that don't know what a surrogate is, that is when a woman basically has your baby for you. They carry your baby for you, and then they give them to you. But a lot of the time, that means they can't work. So you have to pay their salary. You have to pay for them to do that, because once you have a kid, it moves their hips. It gives them fat that's hard to take off. They're constantly lactating because they're they're in baby mode, so they're going to lactate even after they have the kid. It's really painful. It's just, there's a lot of things, like certain pills sometimes you have to take, dieting sometimes, just depending on the baby and the surrogate and everything, that can add up a lot. And then on top of that, you have to pay for the regular medical bill for giving birth, or and that whole process, which in itself can be like 10 grand, depending on how many kids you have and depending on everything and the prices of things. This is just kind of ballparking of, like, maybe it's a little extreme of what things can be. So I thought about this a lot, and I was like, I can go through this and get this done and possibly have nothing work out, or I can use all of this money that would be used to go through this process and buy a house and a car, or like one or the other, or something like that. Use that money for children that I can be almost guaranteed to have, for instance, adoption. You're never guaranteed anything, but you have a greater chance of adoption than you do that, like, just doing the other way and just kind of guessing, because you never know what you're going to get. I mean, they could even stick and then they have a miscarriage. There's just so many things. And I know money shouldn't revolve around everything, but my transition in general is already going to cost a lot. And I don't want my future family to have to struggle because of it. It was a really hard decision for me to make, but I thought about it and slept on it and talked to my dad a lot about it and talked to the endocrinologist and everybody. And I just kind of came to the conclusion for myself that that wasn't the route I wanted to go, that I wanted to have a family, and it doesn't matter to me if my kids are biological children or not. Another cool thing that my therapist actually thought of, a lot of you might think this is kind of weird, but I mean, I'm just giving it out for people that, might find it useful. If you have any siblings, you could possibly use one of their eggs or some of their sperm to have children that will have the same genetic material as you. Now I'm going to talk about the other way. Now, a lot of people say, no, it's okay, you can have a kid still. All you have to do is get on testosterone for however long, like maybe like 6 months, let's say, or 6 weeks. I don't know what it is necessarily, I forget. But for a certain amount of time, you get off testosterone and you get back on estrogen. And then it gets your thing going, and then, you get the eggs, and then you go back on testosterone. Why I highly suggest you do not do this method is because, one, there's not a guarantee that you're ever going to start up again. You have your good eggs now, and they work now. So this is why I'm saying, if this is something important to you, do it before you get on testosterone. Because once you're on testosterone and you get off and your estrogen, it might not produce your eggs, and your pituitary might not tell it to, and it might never start up again, and it might produce bad eggs. I'm not saying bad eggs as in mental disabilities. I'm saying bad eggs as in, like, they can't be fertilized because they're not ready, if that makes sense. Not only that, it's hard enough on your body to mess with your hormones going on testosterone, but to get off and then put estrogen back in your body and then testosterone again, that is really, really bad for you mentally and physically and chemically. That's just terrible to be messing with your hormones like that. If this is something that you want to do, I mean, by all means, you can do whatever you feel like. I'm just saying that is not the route that I would want to take, especially because the factor of that there's a huge possibility that you go through all this hormone change for it to not even work. And they say, like, oh, it'll take 6 months to get your estrogen going and for you to start producing eggs again. But it could take a year. It could take 2 years. It could take 3 years. It could never happen. And that would just really suck for you to have to step out of your transition for possibly years for it to not even happen. That's why I wanted to give this warning of that is a possible way that you can do it. Don't get me wrong. It has been successful. It has worked. But I highly recommend just go ahead and getting it out the first way, because then you also don't have to pay the expenses of getting off testosterone and onto estrogen and back on and all the checkups and things like that. Just my suggestion. That's just my 2 cents. I'm sure a lot of you guys have different opinions, and I'm really sorry if I offended you if you were planning on doing the method that I suggest not to do. That's totally fine. I hope the best for you. I'm just saying, for people that are pre-testosterone, I know I wish that I would have known before. So yeah, I have officially been on testosterone for a little bit over 2 weeks. I am going to do an update. I'll probably do like a 1 month update, because after 2 weeks, I mean, your body's still getting used to testosterone. And although a lot of changes have happened, they're more emotionally than physically. I have had some physical changes, but I kind of want to wait for a little more change so that way I can just kind of put it all together for y'all. Maybe make like a comparison video for my 1 month. I think that'd be really cool. I just hope no matter who you are, what you have, that you have a really good day today, and know that I'm always here if you need to talk. Y'all are the best. I'll see you later. Bye.